and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest episode of Blockbuster Breakdown. I'm your host, Mark Grayson, and today we have two lovely guests, starting with
Anton Barnes
and
Samantha Gibson.
And today we will be reviewing the wonderful movie Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3, directed by James Gunn himself. So, we have a couple questions here for our two lovely guests, starting off with, what are your main thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
For me personally, I'd say that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is like one of my favourite Marvel films. If anyone was to ever come up and ask what's your favourite film, I'd certainly say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And also, it's just amazing director James Gunn, who I'm like a big fan of as well.
And you, Mr. Samantha?
I think it's a really well-made, thought-out film. Amazing storyline. I have nothing bad to say about it, to be honest.
Of course, yeah, it is a pretty solid film. Alright, next question. Where would you rank this movie in the whole trilogy?
Oh, that's a very tough question, Mark. Well, for me, I'd have to start off by saying the second film, Volume 2, purely because, at the time I saw it, I think it was like the best film I saw in the cinema. I just like the connection with Ego, and seeing as I'm an avid comic reader, so it was nice to see him as well. But also just the soundtrack and multiple other aspects of the film which make it my number one. My number two being Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3, sort of for the same reasons, but more so because it's like more of has an emotional impact on us. And then obviously the original, but again, not because I think it's the worst. I think they all match each other just perfectly because they're all just 10 out of 10 films in my opinion. But it boils down to preference. You know, I didn't watch the first film for a while because I found it too sad because of the beginning. I was quite young. But yeah, that's my ranking.
Of course, yeah, solid ranking. And you, Miss Samantha?
I would say my favorite is the Volume 3 one. It's just, as I said, really well made. Second place, the OG. It's really well also made. And obviously Volume 2, unfortunately third place, but all of them are really good.
We'll see another solid ranking. Alright, next question. Who is your favourite character from the movie?
Again, a very difficult question, but for me it boils down to three characters. The first character being Groot, the second character being Star-Lord, and the third character being Drax. The reason why it's these three is because I'd say for me Groot is my all-time favourite. Just that comes from me reading the comics also, but also I'm very fond of the Gentle Giant. Like obviously he sacrifices himself, and overall, although he's the strongest character, he's also like the sweetest and most caring in my opinion. On top of Mantis and other characters, but for me Groot is like my favourite. And then Star-Lord, he's just funny, really well written character. And then Drax, there's just never a dull moment on screen with Drax, and obviously played by Dave Bautista. Just a very funny character, and I really enjoy seeing him on screen.
Yeah, we love Dave Bautista. He is the GOAT. And you, Miss Samantha?
I would say Rocky is my favorite. Really love his character development, really strong, interesting character. I also love Drax. He just adds that bit of extra comedy that this film really needed because it was really sad.
Of course, yeah. Next question. Did you cry when you saw the trailer for the first time?
Me personally, no. I'm quite a hard shell, so no, I didn't really cry. No, but it was really emotional. Don't get me wrong. I just don't really cry in films, to be honest.
Of course, yeah. And you, Miss Samantha?
I didn't cry either, although it did put me off the film a bit because I thought that Rocket was gonna die, but thankfully he didn't.
Yeah, everyone thought he was gonna die. I mean, he was literally in heaven for one shot. But yeah, that is a pretty solid thing. But next up is, whose death out of Rocket's friends impacted you the most?
For me, I'd have to say it would be Lila, purely because I just think it's an on-screen death. Like we actually see her get shot, but also like the emotional connection between Rocket and Lila was so strong. Like seeing Lila die and Rocket, but more so Rocket's reaction to Lila's death was like for me the saddest part of the film.
Of course, yeah, that is a very emotional part. And you, Miss Samantha?
I would have to agree with Anton. Very emotional. She had the most screen time, and therefore we had the most connection with her, and it was really sad to see her die.
Of course, yeah. So I see you both agree.
Yeah.
Lila, the issue Lila's death was definitely the most tragic. And the final question, what do you think of the CGI throughout the movie?
For me, the CGI is certainly a big part of the film. Obviously, you have them come down on Earth and like not Earth, like a different variant of Earth, and you see like different sorts of witty characters, which I really enjoyed to see. And I thought the CGI for that was really, really good. Not just that, I think there's a specific scene I'm thinking of, which is a fight scene, which I also thought was really good.
Of course, yeah. And you, Miss Samantha?
I also think it's really well edited, especially compared to some of Marvel's previous projects, which were quantity over quality, which weren't that well edited. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. So I appreciate you all tuning in for the latest Blockbuster Productions episode, and hope you all have a wonderful day.